Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. How Scientology Broke My Spirit with Its Insidious Methods of Thought Reform by Bruce Hines. Dated October 21st, 2021. Last month, Bruce Hines shared with us his gripping story of escaping from Scientology with a risky flight from New York. Today, he takes us back a few years to his lowest point in the Sea Org. Scientology's dedicated core, they just keep pushing that stupid description of the Sea Org. What a joke. That requires its members to sign billion-year contracts. And its notorious prison program, the RPF. We've heard about the Sea Org's RPF before, but in this piece, Bruce wants us to understand how Scientology's policies work on the mind, and to help us understand how it can truly be a prison of belief. We hope you get it. We hope you give it the attention it deserves. I wasn't sure I would write about this part of my life, but having recently watched a couple of documentaries about Scientology, I decided to give it a shot. I have the idea that someone reading this would think that I am exaggerating, or that I'm just bitter, or that I must have been very weak to allow it to happen to me, or that it is like I'm talking about my ex, and so it is all one-sided and distorted, or whatever. Maybe it is all of those things, but I promise that these things did happen. Part of the difficulty is that I still don't fully understand what happened and how it changed me. Writing this is an attempt on my part to gain some closure. The events that I am about to describe took place over a period of about a month or 6 weeks in July and August of 1998. 2 or 3 weeks earlier, I had graduated from the Sea Org's Rehabilitation Project Force. Wonder how many children were in there with him, of which I had been a member for over 3 years. We referred to it as the RPF. The RPF is something very foreign to the experience of the vast majority of people. It would take many pages to describe what the RPF is and how it came about, and the reader still wouldn't fully understand. I have heard it called a gulag, though it wasn't as draconian as what happened under Stalin. Still, it was a labor camp, and it was quite oppressive. I'll just describe what happened and to my best to avoid all the jargon and acronyms used by Scientology. The story starts after I had completed the RPF and was about to be promoted back into the Sea Org until where I had worked beforehand. I was quite happy about this. Most people in my position would have to do menial work in a lower unit. I was sitting in a room with Guido Bachel, a Swiss guy in a similar situation to mine. We were having to study binders and binders of policies and programs. The idea was to catch up on the current plans and activities of the organization after 3 years of being away from it. This had been going on for a few days. At one point, I went to a telephone in that room to call someone about the place I would be living. At the time, I was living in a dormitory with several other guys. I was supposed to be getting a room for me and my wife, for whom I'd been separated the whole time I was in the RPF. Wasn't sure if I should be making a phone call during the time we were supposed to be studying those binders. But it was taking many days longer than it should have to get a couple's room. While I was on the phone, Scientology's leader, Dave Miscavige, walked by the door and looked in from the hallway. He was a very top guy in a vast international multi-level network of sub-organizations. He was practically worshipped by thousands and thousands of people. Cult much? He had put me in the RPF in the first place. Bet Davey was never in there. When he walked by the room, I didn't think much of it, even though when he was around people, generally walked on eggshells. He's a narcissist. He was very volatile and had a bad temper. Don't you guys wonder where Davy got his bad temper from? I don't know. I haven't vetted it out. But I wonder if Ron Miscavige was like that. I do wonder. I don't know. He was very volatile and had a bad temper. One word from him could result in a person getting disciplined in some fashion or another. I was a bit uneasy about the fact that he had seen me on the phone. You guys know narcissists are just looking for something, right? They can't have you happy. Or especially if you're their competition, which I'm thinking a lot of the things that go on in Scientology, with the more aggressive, cruel, bully-like, mean people, I think they're competing against each other. I couldn't reach the person that I needed to talk to about my room and sat back down to continue reading the binders. It was quite boring, but I was doing my best to get through them. Suddenly Miscavige walked into the room, followed by 4 or 5 other people, all top executives. He always walked around with an entourage. Well, they can't bully people on their own. You notice that? That's the end of it. Weird. I will leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.